Most of us know that our work in emergencies is supposed to be guided by the humanitarian principles. But what are they exactly? And how do we apply them in practice? The humanitarian principles have their origins in the efforts of the International Committee of the Red Cross to assist the wounded on the battlefields of the 19th century. The ICRC and National Red Cross Red Crescent societies found that the principles enabled them to gain access and acceptance by all parties to the conflict and allowed them to carry out their humanitarian missions successfully. Later, the United Nations General Assembly formally adopted the principles as the basis for humanitarian action in all settings, whether natural disasters, conflicts, or other types of crisis. There are 4 core principles that have come to be defining features of humanitarian actions. They are humanity, impartiality, neutrality, and independence. WFP refers to the 4th principle as operational independence, to clarify that while our operational decision-making is only guided by humanitarian objectives, we are governed by an executive board comprised of UN member states. The principle of humanity is about saving lives and alleviating suffering. It's the primary rationale for all humanitarian work. When WFP reaches people in need with assistance in an emergency, we're fulfilling the principle of humanity. The principle of impartiality is about basing assistance on need alone, rather than any other consideration such as ethnic origin, nationality, political opinion, gender, race, or religion. When we provide assistance to affected people from different ethnic communities because they have the same level of need, we're fulfilling the principle of impartiality. Neutrality is about not taking sides or being perceived to be taking sides in a conflict. It also means not engaging in controversies of a political, racial, religious, or ideological nature. When we decide not to use armed escorts because we could be perceived as being affiliated with one party to a conflict, and we ensure staff safety through other means, we're fulfilling the principle of neutrality. Operational independence means that our assistance is provided in a manner that is independent of the political, economic, military, or other objectives of any actors. When we resist having our partner and staff selection vetted by other actors, we're exercising operational independence. The challenge is that in practice, we often face situations in which it seems difficult to uphold all the principles. What do we do when the principle of humanity suggests that we have to provide assistance to a group in need, but we can only reach them with armed escorts that might compromise our neutrality? What should be our position if a government gives us access to an area to alleviate suffering, but attaches conditions on who should receive assistance, which might call into question our impartiality and our operational independence? In many ways, it's about finding a balance, about upholding all the principles to the extent possible. It might be helpful to think about these steps. Recognize the type of dilemma you face. In the case of armed escorts, you might say it is a dilemma between the principles of humanity and neutrality. Explore different options and articulate the trade-offs. Could we negotiate access instead of using escorts? Could the military secure the road and allow us to travel on our own? Select a course of action and minimize the risks associated with it. For instance, if you decide to use escorts as a last resort, you keep the armed soldiers away from the distribution sites and you use messaging to clarify that you are not taking sides. In the end, these decisions are judgment calls. But if we consider the principles, we can be sure that our decisions will be more in line with the spirit of humanitarianism and will stand us in good stead for meeting needs in the future.